The fearsome foursome is back, Gino Bacola, for another first look seminar. And we're not going to get ahead of ourselves, but we are 1 week away from the Santa Anita Derby. A lot of prep races coming up. It's time to get excited. It always is with horse racing, but now's the time to really get excited, Gino.
Yeah, this is the real fun time of the year with all the Kentucky Derby prep races coming up this weekend. It's going to be the Florida Derby from Gulfstream Park and the Arkansas Derby, which is crazy. I think I mentioned this stat yesterday. Over the last 20 years, 7 Kentucky Derby winners last raced in the Florida Derby before going on and winning the Kentucky Derby. 4 raced in the Arkansas Derby, and then 3 from the Santa Anita Derby next weekend. So those are the big 3 races that have been feeding a ton of horses into the Kentucky Derby to win. So odds are this weekend between those 2 races and then next Saturday at Santa Anita, you're probably going to see the Kentucky Derby winner in one of those races based on what the numbers have told you over the last 20 years or so. So fun times, in the Santa Anita Derby will be next week. But our partner track over at Gulfstream Park, they'll have their big day on Saturday. Chappie, they have 10 stakes races tomorrow.
Oh, big day indeed. And, you know, Sure Shot Scatoni's just become kind of a regular part of this show. He's the man now. So, Sure Shot, what's happening, my friend? You're back again. I think you're a regular now.
Absolutely.
You know what? I have so much fun on this show. When I do my Double Trouble live show, I'm stuck with Kieran. And, coming on here, you guys just elevate everything to the next level. So I appreciate that I've got a regular spot. I mean, I guess my audition went well. I got the gig.
Well, we talked about it. We sent you off the show and we talked about it amongst us 3, and it was 2-1. I won't tell you which 2 voted for you and which one said no, but Skippy wasn't in on you for that.
That's not true.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I'll just be the tambourine player. I don't need a lot of spotlight.
That's fine. I mean, we do take this show very seriously. You're a little too loose for us, but we're going to roll with it. So, Seminar Skip, what's going on, my man?
Oh, buddy, everything's good. We're going to have some great weather. We got these Derby prep races. Derby's getting real close. Looking forward to the prep races tomorrow, the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby. Then, of course, really looking forward to next week with the Santa Anita Derby. And, I was thinking about the other day, and just a year ago, journalism winning the Santa Anita Derby, and me and you were lucky enough to head out to the Kentucky Derby. That was on the bucket list, and boy, that was such a great time. If journalism could have won, it would have been better, but it was still a great time, and going to see those farms out there, beautiful. So I'm looking forward to this next month here, and hopefully we can make some money.
Well, like Skipper said, basically we're concentrating on Santa Anita. Next week's the Santa Anita Derby. So we got to get a little seed money there, Gino. So today we're looking at the late pick 5 at Santa Anita, and we're going to start in race 5, 1 1/8 on the turf, maiden 50s, Gino, a field of 8. What are your thoughts here to start us off, my friend?
What makes this race a little tricky, there are 8 horses in here that exit 2 common races. 4 of the horses in the field exit the March 1st race. And then you have another 4 that the 4 outside horses exit the February 27th race, which actually was a non-wagering event. That was the race where the horse was running up the inside of the track all the way around, and it was like bizarre, something that you almost never see, and it happened. So that was a non-wagering event. So it is kind of difficult to gauge the horse's finishes in that race, because you can actually watch what happened heading into the top of the lane. Frank Miramati, track announcer, gets a phone call. You hear it from the stewards, and they tell him the race is not official. So he starts announcing it, and at that point, all the riders start pulling up. A couple of them just finished the race and went on with it because they never knew. They wanted to make sure, and that was probably the smart thing to do, right? Finish it. If it does go official, you were the one that crossed the wire first. But I can't really take too much out of the finishing positions from that race. I think it's like a toss for everyone, and you're kind of playing them like their form was heading into that race. The horse who was in that race that I like a little bit is the 7 Velvet Lily. I'm looking at the first 2 starts for Velvet Lily. That debut back in November, she actually showed speed in a 5-furlong turf sprint against open maiden special weights. So we know that she's got some speed in her arsenal. And in that race, there were 3 next out winners from that debut race. Counterbalance came back to win the next 2 starts, including the China Doll Stakes. Miss Donna won a maiden 50 next time out. And the 4th place finisher was my friend, Essential Lady, who came back to win a maiden special 8 2 starts later at 31-1. So that race has been very, very strong and very, very live. That was the debut race. Dropped in and faced maiden 50s in the 2nd start and showed a completely different running style. Came from way, way out of it, but actually ran really well when finishing 3rd behind another next out winner. I think if you sandwich those 2 races, you'll get a horse that won't be right on the lead, but maybe won't be coming from dead last and can somewhere sit in the middle. I think Velvet Lily is very interesting in here. There's not a lot of early speed on paper. I'll probably have the 1 in the mix as well. So those are 2 that'll definitely be on the ticket for me. I wanted to mention Velvet Lily, who was maybe a little outside the box.
All right, so 7-1 basically for him. By the way, in the middle of that, Scatoni got up. I thought he was leaving. Like, that was the end. He was adjusting his chair. I'm like, boy, he lasted 3 minutes and he quit the show, as we just told him.
I'm out.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Frank. Early exit.
It's so funny. We have a bingo card on our Double Trouble live show, and one of them is Frank stands up and readjusts. I'm constantly moving around to try and get comfortable. Maybe I need a better chair.
It's an Italian thing. We're moving, we're adjusting, we're using our
exactly.
hands. Like, it's hard for us to sit still. That's,
Well, at least now we know. I thought he was quitting already, so that's one thing. Skipper, what are your thoughts? 7-1 for Gino, basically on his A's at least.
Yeah, this is a tricky way to start off the sequence here. Like Gino said, a lot of these come out of that same race, that no contest. I'm going to mention a couple other ones. I do like the 1 and 7 that Gino mentioned. I'm also going to use the 3, Holly Go Quickly for McCarthy. This horse's first 2 races off the break have been really good. First off the break, January 18th, broke from the way outside, the 11th hole. And, the jock just took it back to last, came running late at 1 mile and 1/8. I think the distance will really help her out. The last race, the same deal. She broke from 7 out of 7. Giroux took the horse back and came flying late. This is the 3rd race off the cycle. Usually their 3rd race is their best. McCarthy's doing great. I like the jock switch to Kimura. I think he's a better grass rider. So I'm going to put the 3 in there. Another one I'm going to mention is the 4. Isn't She Loverly? This was a John Sheriff's trained horse. Leonard Powell took over the training duties after that tragic, passing of John Sheriff's. This horse ran sneaky good to me last time. Espinoza was kind of pinned down inside. He whipped it a couple times, and she was behind horses and didn't really have clear sailing. But in the gallop out, once he got this horse in the clear, this horse galloped out nicely. At 8-1, second off the break, they didn't show the works on first bet. But that one on the 23rd looks like it was quick. It came back to work twice after that March 1st race. The 4 is going to be on my ticket. And then I'm going to mention one other long shot, and that's the 6, Heavenly Bell. Comes out of that same race that we're all talking about. But the race before I liked, broke from the rail and only got beat 1.25 lengths. Now, Springline, who ended up winning that no contest race, did beat her that day. But at 12-1 with Baltus, the Baltus barn's starting to heat up a little bit, just like the Sadler barn. They were ice cold, and now they're finally starting to get a little luck on their side, getting some wins. So I'm going to be going 1, 3, 4, 6, 7 for me. I'm going to go a little price hunting here, and I got my single in the 9th, so hopefully we can get alive to that horse.
I like it. So we know where the single's coming from, and I got 2 comments to make out of that. First of all, I'm very impressed that you said, "Isn't she loverly?" correctly. That was
absolutely.
That's like you could have just. That was a walk-off moment right there. That was,
Mike.
Did you practice this before the show?
I had to take a double take because I know you guys were going to give me a hard time, but I'm surprised that "Isn't She Lovely" just come out. But I had to give it a double check, and "Isn't She Loverly?" Yes.
Well done.
I do like renaming the horses. You know that. Captain Choo-Chees.
Yeah.
I like renaming these things.
He's got to
And then
figure out which of the races we're gonna drop it on him, right? Like that's his. We're handicapping, and he's thinking about which name we're gonna make him with, right?
It's coming for sure. I thought we were gonna get him right off the bat. And then the other thing is, Frank, nobody's mentioned the 8. I mean, we talk about hot trainers. Doug O'Neill's on fire right now. So, what are your thoughts here? And you have Channel Place in your mix here.
I have Channel Place on a very, very spready ticket if I decide to go that way. First off, I had a really hard time with this sequence. I don't really love anyone. I mean, I think the logical ones are perfectly fine. But if I had to single in the first leg and the last leg, I will be bookending my pick 5 with 2 horses who are combined like 0 for 17 maidens. And that's in this race, that's Holly Go Quickly. Before I talk about my 2As in here, though, I want to mention the race that Gino talked about, the no contest. You know, I went back and watched that a few times to see if I could get anything out of it. And I realized that I'm wasting my time because it was a total, a debacle. Like Gino said, some horses are pulling up, some are riding through the wire. It's just, I don't want to read too much into anything I saw in that race because it wasn't a real race because of, what happened with the horse going through the rail. And thank God everybody was safe, no injuries or anything like that. So that's the most important thing. But what I did take out of that race, and that's something that I'd like to share with the audience, sometimes I could be a little too stubborn with things that have worked really well for me in the past. And maybe I'm going to be stubborn here again. But that race was for 3-year-olds only. We are early in the season. There are 3-year-old fillies facing older fillies and mares, and that is not an easy thing to do in March. And that is an angle that I actually use all the way through Del Mar, especially if the horse is going to be a short price. Now, it's different. If I like a 3-year-old against olders and the horse is 8, 10 to 1, I'm okay with that. But if the horse is going to take money, I'm always going to look for a way to beat the horse. Now, Skip mentioned Holly Go Quickly. She is my top pick in the race. While I don't think there's going to be a super fast pace, I think the 9 furlong distance will mitigate, maybe Justifar being able to wire the field. But Justifar will be there at the end. I think Holly Go Quickly. You look at her come home times, and they're fantastic. Now, I understand she's 0 for 9. She's had plenty of chances at this distance. At this level. But to Skip's point, 9 furlongs is her best game. And I just think third race of the form cycle, again, like Skip mentioned, I think it's go time today. She is my top pick. And then my second A for my major column is Isn't She Loverly? And that race was sneaky good last time. Leonard Powell took over, added blinkers, and she really perked up. And I thought she ran a very, very sneaky good race. Those last 2 works on paper look very sharp. Second start of the form cycle off a year layoff. Powell is so good getting distance out of his horses. Espinoza rides back. He has been very selective with his mounts this meet, and he's been making a lot of the right choices. So I thought at 8 to 1 or a 4-year-old with upside against a bunch of 3-year-olds, 100%. Excellent play. So my A's are the 3 and the 4. My main B is the 1 Justivar. But if I were using any other ones out of that weird no contest 3-year-old race, it would be 7 Velvet Lily and number 8 Channel Place. But I probably won't be playing a ticket that is that spready. I think I'm going to be very tight here and maybe play a backup with just Justivar, the 1 horse, in case she's able to wire the field.
Got it. Yeah. Well, as we said right off the bat, a little bit of a tricky race to start. So let's move on to leg 2, which is race 6.
The Coast to Coast starts a little early this week. That's actually the 4th leg of the Coast to Coast. If you want to play it, I think the 3rd race and the 4th race are involved, and then a couple races from Gulfstream. So that's the only one that we'll be talking about that's in the Coast to Coast pick 5. If you want to take a look at the rest of that sequence.
Got it. Glad you brought that up. All right, Skipper, let's go to you. Race 6, 25 dime claimers going 6 furlongs here. Field of 6. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to go 3 deep in here. Now, the 6-horse My Cat, 3-time winner going against, 1-time winners. But I'm just not sold on that horse. I know it's dropping in class, and maybe she just wins, right? She's got the perfect draw. But I'm going to use 2 other ones. I'm going to use the 2 Pride of Queens. Doug O'Neill is red hot. Him and Jaramillo, their percentage is really, really high. They're both having great meets. They do great when they're, being a tandem. The 2's going to be on my ticket. The sneaky one that I got is the 4. And this is an old thing that I always do. I have a lot of luck with it. Turf to dirt, route to sprint. And this is what this horse does. And, that maiden win, 6 furlongs on the turf, was not bad at all. And then they tried it going long on the grass. It didn't run too bad that day. Now they shorten it up, go to the dirt, route to sprint, turf to dirt. I'm going to go the 2, 4, 6. Who do we appreciate?
2, 4, 6. I love it. 2, 4, 6. Who do we appreciate? Well said. Frank, what about you?
Yeah, again, this whole sequence is filled with horses I landed on, horses I would normally try to beat. I would try to beat my cat in a heartbeat, but you have to use her on a ticket. Class dropper, outside speed, going to sit the perfect trip. And, I mean, look, Georgie P is having a terrific meet. He is just making all the right moves, firing on all cylinders. You absolutely have to use that horse. But, I always say this horse is even money on the morning line. Not all even money shots are created equally. This is not an even money shot I would be looking to, mortgage the house and bet on to win. So I'm a little skeptical about this horse, but I think a lot of my action will have to go through this horse just because the rest of the field, I think, is pretty weak and pretty suspect. I'm glad Skip mentioned the 4 because if I did use a wise guy horse, it would absolutely be the 4. A lot of these old school angles get forgotten because of all the metrics and the algorithms and stuff like that. But turf to dirt, route to sprint, money move. Val Brinkerhoff is an old school trainer, very, very good horseman. If you look, I'm looking at my DRF stats here. Turf to dirt, he's had 18 starters in the last year or so. He's 22%. That's a good move for him. And when you're dealing with young fillies like this, I think class is very important. She is exiting much tougher races. Even that maiden 50 is a much tougher race than a lot of these have been running in. And same with that starter allowance, where she showed good speed and tried pretty hard until she got tired. So I think the cutback, she's going to relish that. And I know she hasn't won on dirt, but she can certainly act on dirt. She's ran third 3 times. So she's the sneaky play in here. And also I will mention the 2 Pride of Queens just because there is a chance where things really, really heat up front. If my cat's going to gun from the outside, Lady Detective has speed. Final Table Lady used to have a ton of speed. So if those 3 kind of ding dong, Pride of Queens showed last time that she can come from out of it and run on very strongly, even through slow fractions. That was a pretty slow paced race last time, and she was way back and she made up a lot of ground. So again, this is a sequence where I'm probably gonna play 4 or 5 different tickets, singling, spreading. I will single my cat on 1, but I'm absolutely using the 2 and the 4 in other combinations.
So another 2, 4, 6. Who do we appreciate, Gino? What are your thoughts here in race 6?
Definitely want to say hello. We're getting some comments on the YouTube today. We got to say hello to Texas Terry, says the awesome foursome, looking good, gents. Stephen D saying hello. Scurvy Tooth, right? We got to give the pirate.
Those are some of the Double Trouble fans out there. DTL crew. Nice.
Terry says howdy DTL crew, and same thing with Cody, who says howdy DTL crew. So there we go. I think a lot of the DTL crew coming over and saying hello to us. I have been so bad at these types of races over the last few weeks where there's 6 horses and like 4 or 5 of them can win. You just got to pick which 2 or 3 you want. And I'm always zigging when I should be zagging like Chappie was last week in Gonzaga. So
that didn't work.
No, it didn't work very well last week. I mean, because honestly, in this field, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 wouldn't really shock you, right? Like any one of those horses wouldn't be a big surprise, but you can't use 5 of the 6 in this race unless you're going all, but then that just destroys the rest of your sequence, right? On the ticket that you're playing. So I'm going to be 2, 3, 6. I think I feel like the 3 might be a little quicker than it looks just on the fractions. This horse flew early, opened up 2 and was like instantly up 5 lengths on that field. I wouldn't be shocked if from the outside, my cat lets this one go a little bit, tries to just sit off. And then if they go too fast, we've all talked about the 2 Pride of Queens who's going to come rolling. So 2-3-6 for me.
2-3-6, 2-4-6. Who do we appreciate? We appreciate Frank Scattoni. He's a new regular to the show, and he's got fans carrying over into our show.
You know what? That's it. I'm going solo. Forget Double Trouble.
He doesn't need the band anymore.
Fearsome Foursome. Scattoni's going solo.
Timberlake over there is going on his own now, right?
Hey, bye. Take off. No. All right. We move on to race 7 there, Sure Shot. 6 furlongs on the turf. Good field here of 8. What are your thoughts here in the third leg?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Chappie, when you were having a lot of internet problems, and I think Skip had to miss a show, Gino and I had to form a tag team combo, and we talked about Yakalef in one of the races that day where it looked like everything was going to set up for the horse, and certainly did. This horse is in terrific form. Third race of the form cycle, should be super fit off all of those downhill races. The horse is won at this level, should be rolling home late. I think there will be enough pace to set up that late run. But again, 9-5, I don't really love the price. And, you know, if there were other horses in here that I could make strong cases for, I would normally try to beat a horse like Yakalef, because this would now be the 3rd big race in a row. And that's kind of hard for a horse at that level. But I do have a little bit of a sneaky horse, number 5, Irish Royalty. Such a cool Calbred. Obviously pitched way too high last time against stakes horses. Tossed the race. 2 back. Absolutely destroyed Calbred N1X types. I know these are tougher, but this horse ran off the screen. And the thing is, this horse does not have to make the lead. This horse does not need the lead. This horse is tactical. I think a bunch of these are going to go. I think Irish Royalty gets a great trip. Also has turf sprint form against open foes from, you know, back in the day. And again, we talk about hot barns. I mean, Doug O'Neill is as hot as they come. So from a value perspective, I have Irish Royalty as an A. I have to use Yakalef just because the horse is in such good form and should be rolling late. And again, this all depends on how I structure my tickets, but I'm just going to mention number 7, Hella City. Horse needs a career best, but second start of the form cycle. Rough go of it last time down the hill. Just forget that race. I think the horse has a little more to show. This horse broke the maiden going 6 furlongs over the main turf course. Lightly raced 4-year-old in the hands of a very good trainer. Could step up and run a really, really good race. Whether it'll be good enough to beat Yakalef or Irish Royalty, I'm not so sure. But, you know, if you're looking for kind of a fuzzy one, maybe take a harder look at number 7, Hella City as well.
And it's kind of interesting that Jaramillo ends up on the 7, right? I mean, he rides for O'Neill a lot, rode in the win 2 back, and then I don't know. Just
they kind of flip flop. Kimura went to to Irish Royalty, and Jaramillo went to the other one. That's a very good point, Chappie.
Yeah. So 4, 5, 7 there, Gino. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, lots of similarities with me and with Frank. I liked everything he was saying about the 5 Irish Royalty, who's my top selection in here based on value and based on the trip, right? Because I think there are 3 or 4 in here that will probably want to go. And Irish Royalty has that versatility. We see the win 2 starts back when he won on the lead. He's not like a speed horse. I actually like that because I think that was just to take advantage of that situation. You look through the rest of his career earlier on, he was coming from more off the pace. And then last time out, he had a 0 chance trip too. He was like in between horses. He was 4th. And as Frank mentioned, they were just facing a tougher group. So the 5's in the mix for me. The 4, I think, is the one they'll all have to hold off late. I'll probably have 4, 5, 6 on most of the tickets. I think Rearm John is interesting. I just like when lightly raced horses like this are able to string races together, right? We could see he's a horse that would have a race, then he'd run hard. He'd have to have a couple months off. I think whenever they're able to put races together like this in under 2 months, I just feel like they could build up some fitness and maybe have a little more late left in the tank. So 4, 5, 6 for me. If we can get like 4-1 or above on Irish Royalty, I might play a few bucks to win there.
All right, so another rhymer, 456. Who do we appreciate? Skip, what are your thoughts here in the 7th?
I'm with them with Irish royalty. I'm going to use the 4 also, but I'm going to mention 2. I'm going to use 2 other ones that they didn't mention. One of them is the 2, Foma Joe. This horse was really good when it was a 3-year-old. Broke its maiden at Del Mar. Then it went right into Eddie Logan going a mile. It got beat in neck. Then it races against Scipio and the Baffle Stakes coming down the hill. And, had a lot of trouble in that race. Then they tried it in the Pasadena. That was a key race. Those 2, the first 2 place finishers came back and won again. They gave it time. They brought it back in February, almost a year layoff. And it looked like it ran to me like it needed the race. I know Hansen's kind of had a tough meet. Gosh, he's had just no luck. He's got 15 second place finishers. I mean,
he won today.
Yeah, he won today in a turf sprint.
Well,
right?
Good. Maybe the luck is changing. The 2 is going to be on my ticket at 15-1. Got some back class in there. Another one has 3 wins, and I like the 3. Enter the Dragon. Phil D'Amato's been hot. This horse coming back from back east, Kentucky, Churchill Downs, Gulfstream Park, Tampa Bay Downs. First time out, they tried it long on the grass at Santa Anita in January. Didn't run a step, showed some speed, got tired late. Then they sprinted it. I know that was 6.5. This is 6, but I like the way that it won that day, and I'm going to use the 3 also at 10-1. I'm going to go 2, 3, 4, and 5 on my ticket.
All right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Entered the Dragon. That was pretty good there, Skip. I think you said
right?
I think you said Foma Joe instead of FOMO, but that's all right.
Can I make one?
I'm mess up somewhere, Chappie. Come on.
I was gonna say he's batting like 800 right now, so we really got to give it up to him.
I'm
Opening
nitpicking
the
now.
baseball and everything, right? Yeah.
He's
Don't
going to
be trying
regress
to-
to the mean, though.
Frank, they're trying to ruin my confidence. I'm feeling
true.
good,
You know what? You can call the horse whatever you want as long as you call the horse the winner. That's it.
Exactly.
Very
No,
true.
you're right. You're
5
right.
to 1 is 5-1. It don't matter where or when.
That's right. To some people, Secretariat was just the 4 horse. So, you know what I mean? But to one more thing about, because Skippy makes a really good point there, Skip, about FOMO Joe. Well, first of all, it's a little bit of a sentimental thing because our dog Tobias, we call him FOMO Joe because he always wants to be where he's not. He's constantly going from room to room, seeing what's going on. He's got FOMO. But more importantly, you talked about the back class on that horse. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I looked at this horse long and hard and wanted to like the horse. Last time, raced above condition. That was an N2X, right? This is an N1X.
Yeah.
So that was totally a prep race. That horse was not in that race to win because was racing above condition. So I thought that was a super, super sneaky one. Ultimately, I landed on some others, but now that Skip brings that horse up, on my spready tickets, I will absolutely include FOMO Joe.
Okay, so are you going to give the 2 out on your solo show? Is that the deal, or because you're going on your own now?
Well, I don't know. I'm looking at Octung Baby in the next race, and if I'm the Bono of the U2 here, I mean, no, I will not give FOMO Joe out on the solo show. I never hold one back. Everyone says always hold one back. I can't do that.
Frank will be debuting his solo show next week, so going out on his own, he's leaving the band back behind. All right, Frank, let's go right back to you then. Race 8, State Bred Maiden 20. So, not the best bunch in the world, but you mentioned Octung Baby. Is that one of your horses you're going to use here? Yeah,
But again, this is the kind of horse that I would normally try to beat. But the fields have been, this field is a little suspect, and I'm not sure. There's a couple of droppers that I will consider. But, I think this horse has a huge shot. Took money in the debut last summer. I mean, look who was in that race, Pavlovian. That horse is now on the way to the Kentucky Derby, won the Sunland Derby, ran lights out in the Louisiana Derby. A Doug O'Neill horse who's really matured and come into his own. But in that race, I thought the horse showed some running spots. I thought the horse galloped out well. Obviously, something went wrong. Needed a break. Comes back at a very suspect level. But Yakteen is so good at putting his horses where they belong and where they can win. He's also very good off this kind of long layoff. New Gelding, I'm expecting that this is the money run. I think they're probably expecting this horse to get claimed. So get the claim money, get the win money, maybe cash a nice ticket, and then just, create space in the barn for somebody else. So Octung Baby is my top pick, but then I think you also have to consider the 1 class dropper, turf racing, hot trainer, and then also the 4. This is an angle that my good friend Leo Vukmanovich uses all the time. And, these automatic angles don't always work, but when they do, they pay off. A horse that showed no finish, walked off. Everyone tries to avoid these horses. Well, Miyati is sharp. He drops the horse. No one's going to claim this horse off that last race. And that poor maiden special weight form. Like, the horse showed really nothing, but adds blinkers, puts up Ricky Gonzalez, a jockey change to an aggressive jock. They might just put this horse on the lead and never look back. So I'm going to consider using that horse as well. But if I just had to use one, it would be Octung Baby, the U2 play.
U2 play. I like it. So the 3 droppers, basically, from the maiden special weight down to the bottom. What about your thoughts here, Gino?
Yeah, you have a couple of these horses that are getting the makeover package like he was talking about. That's what the sniper calls it, where you have like all these drops. Carl Erskine, the blinkers on for the big drop. The Dam was a 9-time winner on the turf too. So there's supposed to be some pedigree there for grass versus dirt. But keep in mind, that's a very interesting angle. It's Octung Baby, big drop, first time gelding, first time Lasix. The one that I think is a little bit sneaky in here is the 8, Bossing Mo. This horse showed speed, going longer last time out. Now gets the cutback with the blinkers off from the outside draw. Cuts back from a mile. 2 races where they showed a little bit of speed going longer. Now to that elongated sprint of 6.5 furlongs. So speed going long on the cutback. The blinks off. Drawn really well. And look, the only time they were at this level, Calbred maiden 20s, the horse ran second. And I know you probably just dismiss it because was beaten 11 lengths that day, but was finishing behind a class dropper who just went gate to wire. And if you're comparing speed figures, that's actually just as good as what everybody else in the race has been running. I just like the cutback and having like a fitness advantage drawn to the outside there. So for me, I had 7-8 as my top 2. I thought the 6 was a little bit interesting as well. Just a lightly raced horse who showed some sprint speed, takes a little drop, second start in class. I mean, the 2 is obviously the horse that you got to figure out what you want to do with. So I can go back and forth, right? You look on January 2nd, that race at this level, going 5.5 furlongs, very good. The problem is the races, when they went a little bit longer, it just seemed like 5.5 was the trip that this horse wanted. 6.5, 6.5, and 6 and a mile wasn't really close and wasn't running the same type of races. So I'm a little cold on one step beyond here. Probably a lot of 6, 7, 8 for me.
6, 7, 8. Skipper, anything to add here in a tough little race, maiden 20?
I was going to try to beat the 2 at 2-1, 0 for 11. I'm leaving the 2 off the ticket. The 1's definitely going to be on my ticket. O'Neill, Harmio, we already talked about that. First time Lasix. Comes out of a couple good races. The sneaky one that nobody mentioned that I'm going to use is the 3, Honoring Autism. This horse comes in from Emerald Downs last September. Didn't run, great, but didn't run too bad. It was making up some ground. It closed. It lost by 7 lengths. They drop it to the bottom. It doesn't look like it's missed a beat in the morning. The trainer's doing well. At 15-1, I'm going to use that one. I'm going to go 1, 3, 4, 7 on my ticket. I was trying to make a case for the 5, and if I mix and match, the ticket can't be too big, but if I can mix and match early, maybe catch something in that 5th race, see something that looks really good standing out or something that I like, I'll use the 5 on the ticket. That's the only one that hasn't run. We don't know if he could run or not. I know Hessett says 0 for 13 first-time starters, but, I remember he used to win with first-time starters, and that horse seems to be training good. We don't know if he could run or not. So that's another one that I might add to my ticket if I go lighter early.
All right, so a little bit of Spreadsville as well. We get to the 9th race, Gino, a very nice state bred maiden special weight 6.5 on the turf, not down the hill. I know Skipper has a single, but we'll start with you, Gino. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Big Billy's like the horse to beat. He's been a little unlucky in a couple spots, and I think 6.5 furlongs is probably better than the flat 6 that he's had the last couple times. My concern is there really is not very much early speed in this race on paper, and Big Bill isn't the type of horse who like makes his own trip. He needs a little bit of pace to run at here. So while I respect him, I'm probably going to include one or two others that are a little bit sneaky. You know, the two Gilchrist. Michael Kidd, I'm going to throw him onto the ticket, I believe. This horse's dam was a 3-time winner on the turf. The debut race against Calbred Maiden 50s was actually pretty good. The second start, though, was never really in it. Like, was like slow out of the gate, a few lengths behind, never got into it. Which version are we going to see? The dam was good on the grass, and there's a little bit of speed here, and there's not very much speed in the rest of the field, and this horse is drawn down to the inside. The 2 is a little bit sneaky. First-time starter Jimmy Winkfield. The dam won twice. A couple of winning turf siblings, too. Those are the horses that'll be in the mix for me if I can make it to a combination of like 2, 8, 9. I'll probably be pretty happy.
Skip, single time. Talk to me.
I'm singling Big Bill. I usually don't do that when I see 0 for 8, but here's why I'm going to do it. I think 6.5 is this horse's perfect distance. I think it's going to hit him right between the eyes. You know, the last 2 times it broke 2 back, it broke from the rail. Last time it broke from the 3-hole. It was pinned inside, you know, sitting there. Ricky Gonzalez kind of chirped it a couple times so it wouldn't lose position, but on the turn, he's still sitting there. He kind of swung out late and he came flying. I think breaking from the outside now, and there's not a whole lot of speed in here, but you go to that race 2 back, he's right there with 22 and change. He's right off at 44 and 3. I think this horse is going to get a great trip from the outside. I think it's going to help it tremendously. The 6.5, I'm singling Big Bill. Mark Glad is really starting to heat up late. I love this horse. If he doesn't win tomorrow, then I give up. But tomorrow, I think, is a perfect race for this horse.
Okay.
I'm singling Big Bill.
Sure shot. Now, right now, I'll get to go ahead. I was going to say we could have a possibility where going into next week, you have a solo show and Skip has quit the game. So my computer doesn't work half the time. So Gino, you're on your own.
Hey, I was going to say more camera time for me, more air time for me. I don't mind that. Bring it on.
Gino and I could team up again for a little wrestling tag team combination for when, you know, Chappie's internet's not working. So, but no, like I said, I mean, this is why I have a problem with the sequence, and I really need to think it through because my top pick in the first race is an 0 for 9 maiden, and my top pick in the last race is an 0 for 8 maiden. We make a meal beating these kinds of horses. Like we as horse players, we don't want to play these horses. But to Skip's point, I mean, it is really now or never time for this horse. I think it's a pretty weak group, but then again, there are some question marks with some first-time starters. If Big Bill doesn't win today, I think it's Quitsville between me and Big Bill because 6.5 is the perfect distance for this horse. This horse always comes running on late, finishes up well, is always right there, super competitive. Something's got to go his way at some point, and I think today is the day. And again, I really don't – I think the pace is actually very muddled in here because we don't know what some of these firsters are going to do. But even if there isn't a strong pace, I think the elongated sprint distance kind of mitigates that because to Skip's point, this horse has kind of like buried, sneaky tactical speed. That's my top choice, Big Bill. If I went another one, I would use Curling Command, but I'm not telling you guys. It's super obvious. Solid, second off the bench. When Galvin teams up with Hernandez, the horse is live. So, just basic handicapping there. But I would also consider, just strictly from a trainer standpoint, number 5, Colonel Slade. I mean, Mullins beat me out of everything the other day, with a first-time starter going long on turf from the 11 hole. I mean, Mullins is just locked in right now.
And that horse was like hard.
That horse looking like a monster.
And like there wasn't much to get to. There wasn't a lot of pedigree to go off of. And you said,
no,
way to the outside, going long first time out. It was like there weren't angles. I always try to look back and be like, what did I miss on horses? And it's like I would have not had that horse. I just couldn't have gotten to that horse.
Yeah.
You missed a good turn of foot, is what you missed. But absolutely. You're right. Yeah. All right, Gino, drive us home, buddy, before we get out of here.
Yeah, it's another awesome weekend coming up. Don't forget about the first racing Coast to Coast Pick 5, the Sunset 6, and then Chappie, the Pick'em contest. We've now got baseball in the mix. So this weekend you've got baseball, basketball, and horse racing props. If you're a sports bettor, if you're a fantasy sports player, check those out, pick'em.santanita.com. There's a big tournament tomorrow, the Florida Derby Challenge at ExpressBet, and you can also try to qualify for next week's Santa Anita Derby Challenge too. So check out the contest at ExpressBet. And then if you want to have a spot next week at Santa Anita for some of the big stuff, right? Look online. There's the chandelier room party. There's the barbecue in the Loge box. There's the front runner buffet. There's the beer festival. And it's also Easter Sunday next week too. So they have a lot of those events on Easter with the Easter egg hunt. So a really big couple of weeks coming up at Santa Anita.
Big couple weeks. Next weekend, we'll be previewing the Santa Anita Derby. The best part is it's going to be the day before the Derby. The worst part is that my internet won't work. Skip's quitting the game, and Frank's going on his own. So, Gino, you're on your own, buddy.
I'll be here.
All right, everybody. Good luck this weekend. We will talk to you next Friday. We have a big, big week coming up. So, good luck. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, guys.
Good luck, everyone.